It's, you know, we're not trying to pound any kind of a message over anybody's head. This is really the story of this woman, Yvonne Caldwell, through life circumstances, losing a job, relationship going bad, drinking a little bit, finds herself out on the street. I'm sure she thinks that it's temporary at first, as most of our homeless do, and then next thing you know, a whole lot of time has gone by. Fortunately, friendship that begins between herself and a police officer, Tammy Bauman, begins to get her on the path, at least to wanting to get her life together. But what happens is you end up feeling sorry for yourself and you get stuck. And we find her stuck in the movie.
Was this, did you have to research this role?
You know, I was dealing with more of the human component of the story, like what it feels like to be stuck, what it feels like to you give in to feeling sorry for yourself, but at the same time, quite stubborn, and at the same time, trying to be the master of your own domain that you've created. She's very lonely. Those are very human emotions that we all feel at one time or another, and especially with today's economy, with everybody feeling like they're maybe 2 paychecks away from being without a job, you know, it's the right kind of air for being able to understand where this woman must have been.
Is it easier to do a TV movie like this, or is it harder to do it versus doing Grey's Anatomy?
Because it's television, it's the same kind of schedule. So, you know, you only have a certain amount of days, and you have to crank out the story. So, you know, 1 or 2 takes, maybe 3, and then that's it. You're moving on to the next thing. So, actually, the Grey's schedule prepared me well for being able to do a Hallmark Channel schedule.
Did you enjoy working with Ben Vereen?
Just more than a pleasure. My co-star Kathleen Monroe was absolutely phenomenal in the movie, and Ben Vereen was just such a giving actor and just very present, and we just had a wonderful, wonderful working relationship.
Was there anything that you yourself took away from this film that I don't want to say like a message, but I guess just like a feeling or that you yourself didn't have when you first started this project, but in the end, you know, stuck with you?
I don't know that I didn't have it, but it certainly resonated more, the sense of there, but by the grace of God go I, at any given moment. And again, because of where we are today in today's economy, and also the notion that it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take a lot of money to help, or a lot of food donations, or a lot of clothing donation. It's the little things, and just acknowledging that when you're passing by people on the street, that is a human being, somebody with a story, somebody with a name, and sometimes just a hi goes a really long way. So don't worry so much about not having enough to give, you know, that you don't do anything. It's the little things that makes differences in people's lives.
You all sad that you still haven't won an Emmy yet for your portrayal on Grey's?
Oh, no, not sad at all, because that way I'm under no pressure to make a speech. No pressure
whatsoever. Well, I was rooting for you, and I was hoping, but gosh darn.
You know, I can just show up to the party and look fantastic and go eat the food afterwards and get some sleep, you know?
Other than the, you know, besides the news that you know, came out this week about the show, how has been Grey's Anatomy going so far this season?
I think we've been doing some great shows. I mean, we've had some really fascinating medical that the audience has been digging a lot. You know, we're dealing with relationships, but not so much as before. And, you know, Bailey is really doing her thing as a surgeon, really trying to prove herself. And she's, you know, this chief residency position has been amazing for her, because for the most part, it is like she's running things, even though, you know, she's not even an attending yet. So I think, you know, Dr. Bailey's been put in a fantastic position.
I do want to talk a little bit about the events of this week with Ms. Smith being fired and let go. I guess I really just kind of want to ask about the way that the network has been interacting with your show. is the network kind of, is it hampering? Is it censoring? Do you think it's kind of being more of a look over, and that's hurting Chandra, or she's just flowing with the punches no matter what the network does, whether they were hands-on or hands-off?
There's so many things that I'm not privy to, but as a fan of the show and somebody that watches, this last episode was a really interesting full circle kind of moment for, especially for the whole Denny story. And, you know, how could Dr. Hahn not be affected by having her patient come back into the hospital that way? So if there was a larger arc or a larger meaning behind what happened with the character, that's something that I'm not privy to. But it was certainly, you know, as a fan, as somebody that watches the show and cares about the characters, it made a great deal of sense, and I think it was done really well.
How is Shonda going to be remembered, do you think, in the history of television? Because I'm putting her up there with people like Aaron Sorkin, John Wells, and so forth, of all these like great producers making these wonderful shows.
She has been given such a wonderful opportunity to find her way, you know, and very seldom do you hear about, you know, first-time producers just kind of coming out there and hitting it the way Shonda Rhimes has. Goodness, the opportunities that she's created on television as far as people being able to see themselves, all shapes, sizes, you know, races in this medical setting, the kind of relationships that we've been able to have. You know, she's set some incredible precedents for what television should look like, and you know, people have tried to follow, tried to duplicate. Still not the same thing. You know, she really is a warrior right now for good television.
Do you get letters from doctors saying, "Thank you, I'm now seeing a character that I can identify with," or letters saying, "Wow, you remind me of someone I used to work with"?
Yeah, it's mostly patients and you know, scrub nurses and you know, folks that work the floor that say, you know, we have a physician just like you, or you know, I know that woman. I get that a lot. You know, I know her, I've seen her, I've worked with her, or she's my doctor, and that's just a big old compliment to me.
I have to go here soon, Miss Wilson, but I do have one more question.
Sure.
And, but, you know, besides this current project, Accidental Friendship,
Yeah.
has there been another movie or TV project that you worked on, you were very proud of, but for some reason the audience just wasn't there and it disappeared quicker than you would have liked to?
Wow. Well, you know, anything that goes away, you know, want it to go away. But I think the last series television for me was a project called Bob Patterson. That was Jason Alexander's sitcom for ABC back in 2001. I think that's when we were there. It was right after 9/11. We got preempted a lot. We got maybe 5 shows on, and then we kind of did the ABC shuffle a little bit and moved around, and then we were gone. So it would have been nice to see what could have happened to that show if it was allowed to continue.